Let's say I'm talking to you, man. It's a bright, sunny day. Woke up with a good mood. You came home from work. Your wife comes home from work a bit later than you. Today she came another half hour later. And when she arrived, she was completely stressed out. She didn't want to see you. She just went straight to the bedroom to change. So you were thinking, this is a bit weird. At night, when you want to make love, she was quite resistant. You would think, what's going on? Then you notice she has blue spots on her arms. And you tell her, honey, you can't tell me now who did this to you. Tell me who it is because he's in big trouble with me. And she confessed to you, my boss did it. I did not listen carefully to what he wanted me to do. So I did what he asked, but not in a precise way. He became angry and he picked up his belt and began to whoop me. He whooped my behind and he also gave me extra lashes to teach me respect. What's your reaction, brothers? Are you going to say he did the right thing? You should learn how to respect a man you're dependent on. He is your boss. He pays you. You're dependent on him, so he has the right to exercise power over you. Would you say that? No. Either you would lose your mind and you would harm that boss and you would end up in jail, or you would report him to the police and he would be in big trouble. Because you wouldn't accept that he, as an adult, would abuse and misuse his leverage over your wife by hitting her. He has a leverage over her because she's dependent on him for payment, and now he uses that to go too far. You wouldn't take it. And if you would report him, he would go to jail for abusing the leverage he had. Rightfully so. Okay. So if we don't allow grown men and grown women to misuse their leverage to cause physical or mental harm, just because they want to unload, because they didn't have their way, or because you don't do things the way they want, then why is it that we approve this happening to little children who have no option for defense? If it happens to your wife at work, your wife has an option to walk away, to call the cops, or do whatever. A child doesn't. So with a grown human being who has options, will be able to process things, we don't take it. Even if a human being is able to process things, we won't take it. But children who are not able to process not even the least complicated things, to them, you can smack them, you can pick up a belt, a stick, a shoe, or your bare hard hands. Why? Because you need to learn to validate adults, to allow adults to control how they speak, how they walk, how they talk. Look, children need guidance. We understand that. We were all children. But come on now, there's a difference between guidance and controlling. To want to control someone, that's pathological. You wouldn't allow an adult to exercise control over someone else and get away with it. But you can do it with children, and children need to be thankful for it. Come on. The reason I'm making this video because I want you to think. If you don't dare to do it to an adult who's able to retaliate, who has other options, why would you do it to a child? Just to gratify you, or because you went through the same things, now you want to pass it on so you don't have to face anything? Listen, it's such conversations we should have as believers, so that we can face the garbage that's been transferred onto us by the previous generations. What happens sometimes is that too many of us believers, we tolerate too much BS from our grandparents and parents, and because we have been formed by that BS, now we don't want to face ourselves. So now we want to pass it on unchallenged so we don't have to process anything. Don't be a coward. Be brave. Be wise. If you don't dare to do it to an adult, don't even think about doing it to a child. Because if you wouldn't dare to do it to an adult, but you are willing and confident to do it to a child, it means you are nothing but a coward. You just want to ease the way out to unload yourself. So you don't want responsibility. So you're avoiding responsibility and you're putting the pressure of the situation on a small human being with no mental or cognitive capacity to deal with the situation and with no physical options for safety. What can justify that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, what if it was Christ that was in the form of a little child? Would you dare to smack him, the Most High himself, knowing he's God? No, you wouldn't, right? So what if it's someone who can't defend himself? You say, well, you would just go your way. So that's the type of world we live in, where violence against children in various parts still accepted, but then we begin to mourn and complain when we see government corruption, when we have so many adults that enable evil. If you don't want adults to enable evil, don't make them endure it while they're growing up. Because while they're growing up, they have no option to fight it, nor to do anything about it. So they learn how to endure it. So when they're adults, that same pattern continues. And then you'll have psychopaths taking advantage of this, smacking everyone around and causing harm. But then people say, but the psychopaths only go so far if the public enables. Yes, the public enables it, but who told them to become enablers? Who told them that it's a virtue to validate the urges of the strong? We do. Oh, but as long as we are the strong and we have our reasons, it's okay. But if it's someone else who has his or her reasons, if we're the one suffering, now it's bad. Reflect on yourself and unlearn every self-justification of violence that the world taught you. Not all self-justification of violence has to do with children. Some have to do with other adults. Whatever type of self-justification for violence is, it's not legitimate because God does not tolerate violence anywhere in heaven nor on earth. So keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.